They never thought a child's toy could be a weapon of war. But in a quiet village outside Palermo, a priest stood at the center of something most would dismiss as superstition. He would later say, this was not a haunting. This was a blockade, a spiritual ambush. The child's name was Matteo. His nightmares began without warning. Deep, soul-rattling screams in the night that turned his parents' bedroom into a war zone of prayer and panic. No one could explain them. No one could stop them until one object was found clutched in his hand. A doll. Not just any doll, but one with twisted horns, small leathery wings, and a stitched grin that seemed to grow wider in the moonlight. It had been a birthday gift. From a friend who thought it was quirky. It wasn't. A month earlier, across the marble halls of the Vatican archives, a small group of scholars had gathered to retranslate old spiritual letters of the Capuchin mystic Saint Padre Pio. Their goal, routine documentation. But what they uncovered was anything but routine. Among the yellowed papers was a 1957 letter never before translated outside Italian. The words sent chills through the room. Certain figures and objects, given to children and adults alike, bear unholy markings. They cloud the air with sulfur and invite infestation. They muffle the voice of Saint Michael. It was a warning, one that had lain hidden, ignored beneath dust and ink for over 60 years. Theologians began comparing this warning with real accounts, many from spiritual directees of Padre Pio himself. And slowly a terrifying pattern emerged. There were homes plagued by anxiety, inexplicable illness, even objects falling or doors slamming, always after the introduction of specific items. A rosary with crystal skulls, a dream catcher hanging over a child's crib, a collector's figurine of a winged angel with glowing eyes and claws. These weren't just things. They were signals, invitations. Billboards to the infernal, said Father Antonio De Luca, an exorcist who had seen it too many times to doubt. In every case, there was one common element. The prayer to Saint Michael did not work until the object was removed. The recovered letter named 3 categories of danger. Scholars now call them the 3 blockers. 1. Imitative sacred objects, rosaries with zodiac signs, black candles, or skulls, especially those repackaged as spiritual accessories. 2. Mocking angels or demons, toys or decorations that parody the divine, dolls, avatars, or collectibles that blur the line between reverence and rebellion. 3. Symbols of false light, New Age items claiming spiritual power, dream catchers, energy crystals, and talismans. They often arrived as gifts, harmless, stylish, but spiritually toxic. Back to Matteo's house. When Father Antonio was called to the child's home, he entered with holy water and a deep unease. The parents showed him everything, but it wasn't until the priest noticed the doll on the bookshelf, now propped upright and seemingly watching, that he froze. He didn't bless it, he burned it. And in the rising smoke as prayers were said, the boy's screaming stopped. He never had another nightmare. Padre Pio once told his spiritual children, "If you knew how many demons loitered around you, you would die of fright." But he didn't say this to scare us. He said it to wake us up. He knew that in our homes, our sanctuaries, we unknowingly invite in spiritual static. Objects that seem beautiful, fun, or fashionable, but which spiritually jam the frequency of heaven. The devil is like a chained dog, but some people walk straight into his circle. So what can we do? Here's what Padre Pio urged. 1. Inspect your home. Open the drawers. Look at the toys, decor, and jewelry. Ask, Does this mock holiness? Was this crafted in reverence or irony? 2. Dispose, don't donate. Burn them if safe. Otherwise, seal them in black bags and discard them. And pray these words as you do. Saint Michael the Archangel, defend us in battle. Through this cleansing, may your sword pierce the shadows that seek to deceive. Amen. 3. Consecrate anew. Sprinkle holy water. Light a blessed candle. Recite the prayer to Saint Michael for 9 days. And enthrone an image of him at your door. Because once those blockers are gone, the archangel rushes in like lightning. The final question. So many still wonder why their homes feel heavy, why their prayers go unanswered, why the peace they crave never stays. The answer might be sitting on a shelf, wearing a smile stitched by hands that never intended it to be harmless. This is not paranoia. It is spiritual awareness. Because this war is not fought with bullets. It's fought with symbols, permissions, and open doors. And in this war, the enemy doesn't need to knock. He just needs a crack. Saint Michael is waiting. Will you clear the path for him? Start your 3-day spiritual audit today. And if this story opened your eyes, share it, because someone you love may unknowingly be under siege.